First Watch with Sheriff Mark Daniels on KWCD Bisbee Sierra Vista. Hosted by Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
And good morning. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
As I was turning on the mic, you were saying something about weather. Are you talking about our weather or where you were before?
Well, I just want to compare that. I just got back from Reno, Nevada, and you saw last Sunday the big storms coming through the Sierras and up there in Northern California coming into the Reno area. It was cold. There's a lot of snow. And so when you have a little wetness this morning here, think about Reno, Nevada, and you'll be glad you're here. Trust me.
It is nice weather right now, though. It's nice to get a little rain. It's better than our whole monsoon last year.
You know, I was coming back from Phoenix last night from the airport and driving back, and it's pretty green. I was pretty impressed on the fact that we're greening up, and I just love the spring, absent the wind. I mean, it's nice to see the green coming. So we're getting some rain. I know it's huge for the desert, but there's so much controversy on water here, but it's nice to see that. But it's cold in Reno. I talked to a lot of people up there. It's just a whole different world. Beautiful area up in Reno, don't get me wrong. I like the area, but it's nice to have some warmth and sun and blue skies.
And we're glad that it's got a little bit of rain because talking about fire season coming up, just really quickly digressing, we have to be careful because they're anticipating that it's going to kick off in May, a little bit earlier. And we've already had one in Middlemarch Road, and it was about 10, 15 acres. So we just need to make sure that everybody is aware. We're going to start really hitting the ready, set, go and making sure that people understand fire-wise. And please contact your fire departments if you have any questions, but just do that.
Yeah, Ian, you know, are they anticipating a bad fire season this year?
They're anticipating it starting earlier. So
wow.
We just need to make sure that we do what we can to mitigate that.
But, you know, Arizonians are so used to this kind of weather, though, when it comes to in the fire season. You know, we have 4 seasons plus fire. We
Yes.
really have 5 seasons. But you wouldn't think it'd be that bad, but I guess I'm wrong on that.
So what were you doing in Reno?
So we had our Western States Sheriff's Association meeting, and that is described as sheriffs west of the Mississippi. So the states that are west of the Mississippi come together and we talk issues. We have training. It's our training annual conference. We do it annually in Reno, Nevada. And the last 2 years, like I said, it's been snowing both times we've been there. So hopefully next year we're looking for some golf course weather because it's you never know kind of weather you're going to get in Reno, kind of like Arizona. But so we're up there, sheriffs coming together to address issues that we all face, whether it's public land issues, whether it be the office of the sheriff, or last but not least, a big topic, hot topic, was the border. The border is huge. I mean, we saw that on the news. You see it every day. Something's going on, whether a tragedy somewhere in our country. But the bottom line is we're dealing with this border, and that was a hot topic. I chair the committee up there that I could do with national sheriffs, and it was packed, standing room only. And I want to hit on the show this morning, and I brought this up. I think it was last Friday too. Is right now, our non-government organizations are addressing the migrants that come across the border and are processed, and then, and I know that's controversy. They come across the border legally, and then they're processed and then sent to where they go. That money goes away. Now here you have and I'm just going to be direct. Here you have the federal government that's busing, and since May of 2008 to 2023, till about a week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, over 37,000 street releases in Cochise County. They didn't even cross here. That money goes away to address them. What do we do? And I've talked to the governor's office. I've talked to our 2 U.S. senators. We've talked about it at the sheriff's conference. We had Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol senior leadership in Reno with us. As I said to them, and I'll say it to the folks, it's unacceptable to drop people, any people, in Cochise County without survival. You are setting up a public safety challenge, you're setting up a national security challenge, and you're also setting up humanitarian challenge. And so this is a big discussion. This money goes away March 31st. And I commit to you as your sheriff that we are going to take a stance on this. There is no way we're going to allow this continuing without proper humanitarian needs and proper processes, because they didn't come here. So don't bring them here. And I'm not saying that in a way. I'm saying in a way of, just like I described those 3 objectives, the federal government's got to get their act together. They truly do. And if they don't, then we need to take a stance on that. And I'm going to ask the governor, Attorney General's office, Brian McIntyre, our county attorney, to stand united with me on this.
And so, again, we only have 2 weeks to get something done.
Yeah, and we've been talking for over 2 weeks. They told us about a little over 2 weeks ago that, hey, Sheriff, this money's going away. Dan Deshawn, amazing job over at Emergency Services here in Cochise County, working with the state of Arizona. But the state and Dan and our local resources, the cities, Douglas, for example, has done an amazing job. Everybody's doing their job, but the federal government's not. So at what point do we say enough? And especially on this. So we're dealing with enough with the fight and flight, the pursuits, the smuggling that the public is so well aware of. But now you're adding this on us with not even a check. I'm talking about a cashier's check to deal with this. Yeah, I got a real problem with that.
And so all of those things, talking about border, there were some other highlights that came about from the Reno conference. And one of the good things that came out of that was recognizing 2 people from our department.
They did. They recognized Commander Bob Watkins, who runs my operational side for Sworn, and also Captain Tim Williams, who runs my border. They both were recognized for their efforts to do their part to secure the border, but also it goes beyond that. And the beyond part was to work with states and counties and sheriffs to educate them, to integrate them into a program. Cochise County can't do it themselves, but together we're doing a lot of amazing things throughout the country that I won't get in detail here. But the better we can share ourselves, the better we can share our operations, the better all we got a chance of addressing the cartels. And that's really where the issues lie. So they got awarded recognition by the 700 folks that were there at this conference, and so it was really nice to see that.
Another thing that's making headlines and social media buzz is someone impersonating an officer in Bisbee. Tell us about that story.
You know, I saw it when I was gone. I saw it pop up on a couple in the media. I saw it on social media. And I got to say this, and this is always something I believed in, and I do as a sheriff over the last 12 years. Get it out right away. Get that information out. And Carol, you and Grady do an amazing job on that. But when you doesn't get out, it'll grow a story, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And this grew a story. And I know, Carol, you helped Chief Cox yesterday with some clarification on this. And what's going on with this?
So they did have a report, according to Bisbee Police Department. And again, we just wanted to share some information so kind of cool the temperature down a little bit. That some people had indicated that they initially had indicated that they were stopped by an unmarked vehicle with lights. Then the guy approached him and, identified himself as a law enforcement officer. And so in getting down into the weeds of that a little bit, they indicated that when they did the interviews with the people who were initially reporting that somebody was driving erratically, passed him in no passing zone. Actually, then the people who reported it followed this person until they came to a stop in a parking area, and then the altercation began. The people who followed the man to the parking lot did say, what's your problem, what's going on? And he said that he was a public service officer from Sierra Vista. So again, we get into the thing, and now I think that the little bit of a rub is so he can identify himself as a law enforcement officer and nothing's going to happen to him. Well, he didn't flash a badge. He didn't try to stop them, according to the Bisbee Police Department. These other people followed this man, and he lied. I mean, the guy lied. It's on tape. Everybody can hear that. But the legality about lying is different if there's no expectation. So we put a little bit of the statute in there saying, okay, so he lied about it, but then they continued the altercation by, the guy got in his car to drive away, and then they drove around him trying to get a copy of his license plate, and it just grew arms and legs, and it shouldn't have.
Well, it's always sensitive when you got individuals impersonating police officers, but there are statute guidelines. And again, when you don't have all the information, like I said, it grows its own story. And that's, I think, what happened here. And then you're playing catch-up. You're trying to correct something that didn't need to be corrected. So, again, the bottom line is we don't have somebody running around impersonating the police officer, though.
He's just lying. He just flat out lied. And he did it on tape. But he said public service officer in Sierra Vista. So a little bit of a fine line, a razor's edge. Then this subject has his picture and his car license plate blasted, in social media, in print media, in television news. So now there's, that side of it.
Yeah, and again, the words they're very public service officer. What is that? A volunteer spokesman for the city of Sierra Vista, or is that somebody impersonating a police officer? And we have to follow the letter of the law when it comes to charging. We just can't. well, we believe our opinion is you were. Well, opinion is going to go so far in a court of law. So I just want to make sure we brought that up this morning and clarified that, because I know I even had some confusion with what's really going on. And again, that's in another jurisdiction, and we came out and helped him with some transparency clarification on that. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's illegal as heck if you go out there and say you're a police officer, any form of law enforcement, and do some corrective behavior. Because actually, if you do that, number one, it's a detention, which means that's kidnapping. Mm-hmm. And we stop somebody, that's a legal detention. You do it illegally, you're moving into the custodial or kidnapping aspect of it.
One thing we want to do today is give out a shout out to 2 people that are retiring.
2 people. First of all, I want to start off with Mike Hyatt. Mike Hyatt, who's a Buena graduate, a Colt. I went to high school back in, I won't say it, Mike, for you to protect that age. I know how we are.
He's 21.
He's 21, that's right, And but Mike's been with us. He's been the patrol agent in charge of NACO for as long as I've known him. I mean, he's been around. He's a stellar agent, stellar leader. He's our go-to here at the sheriff's office. He's my go-to person, too, to include my friend. And let me just say, I think he has 28, 29 years. He's called it quits. That's an institutional loss for the U.S. Border Patrol. And it's an institutional loss for our country and also law enforcement here locally. And so Mike and I got together last week, and actually, I'll talk about my traffic stop because Mike was with me on that one, and at the end. But the long story short is, Mike, thank you for your service, and thank you for everything you've done for this county and also this country. I mean, like I said, trying to get him recruited over at the sheriff's office. And we'll keep working on that. We'll keep working. So if Mike, you hear me, I'm coming back at that thought. So good luck to you and your wife and your family. You well deserve that retirement.
And another one from Sierra Vista Police Department.
And it's Lawrence Boutte. And let me just, people go, who is that? That's Butch, everyone. And everybody goes, oh, I got it. Now it's Butch. But Butch is another one. I mean, been around, I don't, how many years? It was 25 years at least. He's the assistant chief at Sierra Vista Police Department. He's the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. Butch has been around, and his wife Yolanda, who sits on the Sierra Vista School Board. They're both community servants. They both help me coach wrestling in so many different ways. Both their boys have come up through the ranks of wrestling in Buena High School. But Butch also has decided to call it quit this month. And again, another huge loss for this community, law enforcement. But again, he leaves his legacy. Both these gentlemen leave their legacy and their reputation where it needs to be in check. So congratulations, Butch, to you and Yolanda both. I wish you well with your grandkids. I know that's part of what they want to do, and I wish them well.
And some other people that we want to recognize are our volunteers. So we have Search and Rescue, and we have our Sheriff's Assist team.
We do this about every 3 months at the Sheriff's Department. Yeah, we have a Sheriff's Assist team. What that means is they go out, you'll see them doing anything not in progress for law enforcement. They don't make traffic stops. They're not sworn officers, but they do neighborhood watches, which is close to 30, I believe it is now in this county. They have they do bike races. I mean, any community event out there. And most important thing I think they do, and then they do support roles for us. They'll do help the traffic accidents, crime scenes, you name it. But what they do, I think they just hit 300 veteran escorts, the vets that have served their country, passed, and then they're going to their final resting. They escort them there. You probably see a lot of that running around town here. So under the leadership of John Black, Alan Wheeler, Steve Ziegler, thank you to our SAD team for all they do and the amount of hours. I think it equates to 5.5 full-time deputies if we had to get rid of our volunteers to back up the services they do for this community. And the other one, Search and Rescue. Boy, it's been a busy week for Search and Rescue. My. Marty Allred's the new coordinator over there with the dedicated volunteers that do this, that put their lives on the line too. They go out there, but every day I turn around, I see they're called out. They got to call out for a rescue or some kind of mission. So kudos to our Search and Rescue volunteers too. If you listen to us this morning, thank you for your service to the Sheriff's Office, and most important, those in need.
And another person who got recognition from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office was Deputy Oletsky. A motorcycle group called the Boys in Blue gave him a plaque because he was injured in the line of duty. And this motorcycle club actually does that. They're a nonprofit that goes around and kind of recognizes law enforcement who have been injured or fallen.
And they did that last Saturday. And Chief Napier, our former chief, you recognize him as sheriff of Pima County, a retired assistant executive chief, whatever he was, with Tucson and then Glendale. He spearheaded that. And he called me and said, "Can we do this?" Of course you can do this. I mean, Chris, he earned it. Let's just put it that way. So thank you to that group for doing that. They came down into Sonoyta. They rode their motorcycles down there, and Grady, you were there. And if you guys don't know Chris Oleski, I know he's been on our media lives. He's been in a lot of our discussions. You can't find a more stellar, humbled, honored man than Chris. So I'm so glad to see this. And and again, every time I see him, Sheriff, I don't deserve this. You might not, but we're going to give it to you. I mean, he's truly, and he served our country for 20 years in the military. His brother Josh is in the same boat. But thank you, Chris, for what you do.
And also, we've got his story is coming out next week. We've made a video of what happened to him, his recovery, and where he is now. So that's going to be on the Sheriff's Facebook page and on YouTube next week.
I'm looking forward to that, Grady. I am. I'm impressed with some of those videos you're putting out there. It's nice to see that.
And so they also, honoring some people, they had the 8th annual honor run last night in Tombstone, and I think it was really well attended by local law enforcement for the U.S. Marshal's Office, and that's to recognize, again, the 8th annual, to recognize those who've fallen in the line of duty for the U.S. Marshal's Office. So it's a nationwide effort. Everybody steps off at the same day at the exact same time, and I think it was pretty impressive to have everybody. We had our personnel, we had CCOM out there, we had our Sabre team people, we had our support for Sabre, and so it was a really good all-around mission for us to accomplish.
Great cause. Truly great cause. I mean, one of the hardest things, let me go back for just a minute, at the Western State Sheriffs, we always start off with the role of the sheriff, but right after that we go into our fallen heroes. And we tribute and recognize and honor each one of them. And let me tell you, that's tough. I'm telling you, we've all been in the business a long time, and that's tough. And so, same thing over in last night when they did this event. It's tough, and so I'll always support that 100%. These are community heroes. If you ask any of them, if you could had the ability to ask them, they would say, "No, I'm not a hero." Yes, you are. I'll give it to you every day.
And if you want to join the Sheriff's Office, we have several positions that are open. We have detention that is open. You can be a detention officer starting at 18, and also the deputy position is open, but the deputy position closes today.
Today, yes, and so we're looking for some quality candidates out there. So if you're still interested in being a deputy, get your application in. You can go online to Cochise County Human Resources. It's not a difficult application to fill out, and then once we get it, we'll get a hold of you. We'll be testing here in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested, it starts off at $55,000. Not a bad salary, and full benefits there. So if you're interested, put it in. It's never too late.
And giving back to the community, you've been busy. So last Saturday there was an event, and people can check out our Facebook and see a couple of M&Ms. And just, you were part of Men Who Cook, and as well as our Sheriff's Assist team had a group as well. It was Jem Banky and John Black and Alan Wheeler, and they were out there serving up chili, and you guys had M&Ms.
And M&Ms, so yeah, that was our theme. We had the M&Ms. If you haven't seen our Facebook, we have a lot of fun with it. We do. This is a great fundraiser, and there was 19, I think, chefs that cooked, and it breaks it down into appetizers, soup, salad, entree, and then dessert. We were dessert. There was like 5 or 6 dessert competitions in that, so it was good. And so we made cake pops that were disguised as M&Ms. We did different colors if you haven't seen it. And they're really, really good. And the M&M is not for the traditional M&Ms. It just worked out the theme was, well, it's for Mark and McNeely. My Sergeant Ray McNeely and I did that together. Nice. So that's what I told people. But we brought some real M&Ms and put them in a bowl, just in case people were disappointed they didn't get M&Ms, because there was nothing to do with our dessert with M&Ms. But again, either way, it was a lot of fun. A lot of verbal judo with the other cooks. Like I told one of our competitors that beats us every year. This year we both didn't win it, but I told him, I said, "How you doing, runner-up?" "I'm not a runner-up." He takes it real serious. So if he's listening today, he's going, "I can't believe the sheriff said that." But it's a lot of fun, and it's for the symphony. They do a lot of amazing work here in the arts, and so we'll be back next year. We'll be back, but we did get 3rd place for presentation. So it's the lowest I've ever got, but that's okay. We'll keep pushing.
And another thing we're helping out with is the Kiwanis Club is doing a shoe drive. So if you have gently used or new shoes, then you can donate them through any of our sheriff's locations. We have boxes in our lobbies, or you can just talk to the support staff there. Again, they're looking through the end of March for any gently used or new shoes, and please drop them off. If go through your closet, find some stuff that you haven't worn for a while. Make sure it's not completely destroyed, and because other people will be able to use that.
Exactly, and we take things for granted, especially if you look through your closets or your house. There's a lot of things in there people could actually use and just embrace. That we're blessed, share our blessings. I know we just did a bunch of that too. So and as long as the shoes are reasonably in good shape, and that's the key to that. I was in that meeting when they were talking about that. Let's share them. Let's share them.
So you alluded to your traffic stop that ended with Mike Hyatt as well. So tell us about that traffic stop.
Well, nothing unusual. I think people know me well enough. So Mike Hyatt, last Friday, we're meeting to have a soda, and so while I was waiting there, our car pulled in there with an excessively fractured windshield. And so when the car left, I made it stop for it. You can't have a windshield, number one, that's busted up. It's like somebody took a baseball bat to this front windshield.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was bad. It's not like crack. This was a smash. And it was obstructing, plus the integrity of the windshield. When a crack goes from one end to the other, got to get it replaced. And I know they're expensive. I get it. We're pretty tolerable to that, but to a degree. So I stopped the car. And long story short is, it was an interesting stop. The driver, who's on a court supervision for drugs, and while I was talking to him, he's not from here. He recently located from the East Coast, but ended up shooting a person there in Texas, he told me. I mean, so you never know who you're stopping. Well, the female in the car had a bag between her legs, and I say a bag like a backpack. I asked her for some ID because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. By law, you have to wear a seatbelt, and if you don't, even the passengers, the front passenger seat, she said she had no ID. The bag wasn't hers. Well, in the bag, once we called a canine that alerted, the dog got there before he even got a chance to even look at us. It sat, alerted, positive, and boom, we found some methamphetamine. And so there were some investigations. Our narcotic guys took it from there. But my point is, it's like, drugs are a bad thing right now. We're dealing with it. And part of my safety message is to our parents out there, know your kiddos, know what they're doing. It's getting worse and worse. And I want to give you the stats from fentanyl from 2023. So this represents about 5 to 10%. So 90% plus are getting away. So in 2023, and this is the federal calendar year, this came out of HIDA from just the meeting I was at. I ask for these every year for us. 182 plus million fentanyl pills were seized in the United States. One pill, one kill. It's horrible stuff. Arizona, out of 182 million, we had over 111 million fentanyl pills. We led the nation at 52% of all the fentanyl in the country was seized right in our state. Nothing to be proud of. It's good work. But I said 90% is getting into families, getting into communities, getting into our schools, and killing people. And so I wanted to bring that up. Know what's going on in your young one's life. Fentanyl is very addictive. Like I said, that stuff's laced. It's bad stuff. A lot of your methamphetamine, a lot of your other dope is laced with it. It's just bad. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, I was going to Phoenix for a meeting, pulled into a truck stop. A young man alerted me, went over there, and there's two people that were passed out, circling the drain. Let me just say that when it comes to, they had used fentanyl. The fentanyl was sitting on their lap, and they were both passed out, car running in front of a gas pump. So, of course, called medics, called law enforcement to back me up on that. I'm in Eloy. So, but again, this stuff is nasty. It's just nasty. So we as a society, we as parents have to talk about the war on drugs, the awareness on drugs, and we got to get our communities back, and we got to save our kiddos.
And so tomorrow, just rounding this out, there's going to be an event at Sierra Vista VFW where one of our commanders is going to be presenting to Vietnam veterans of Arizona. So, again, getting back into that community and getting the word out about what's going on in Cochise County.
And this is an annual event, and it's our Vietnam Veterans of America Association. First of all, I salute you guys, Bill Bates, and all the men and women over there. It's a great event. I'm going to miss it because the scheduling conflicts, the unexpected hit me. So, again, but we're going to be there. We're going to present on the things at the Sheriff's Department, but most important, what's going on our border with them and kind of some of our innovation. I'm very proud. Let me just say this. I'm so proud of what we do in Cochise County to take that extra step to protect our citizens. And I couldn't do it without a population here of citizens that truly care about the mission and the rule of law. So with that, thank you, everybody out there.
And Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks, Grady. Thanks, Carol. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next Friday.
And coming up next, we've got one of our sponsors from Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. We'll hear from Eric Peterman.
Giving you an inside look to your sheriff's office. Let's go back to First Watch on KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Eric Peterman, for being here from Sulphur Springs Valley Electric. And thank you for sponsoring this show and all you do for us.
I really appreciate the opportunity, and we're happy to sponsor the show. It's a great resource.
So what is one of the major projects you guys are working right now? Because I know you have many.
Sure.
So let's just pluck the big one right now.
Okay. So we're resuming our inspection of poles and wires, high transmission, or transmission and distribution poles and wires throughout our service territory. We started this program actually in January. It's we have a contractor, a nationally recognized company called Firmatech. They come out with American-made drones, and those drones then inspect the poles and inspect the wires and the equipment on the poles. The idea is that they use thermal photography, and they're able to identify potential equipment failures and hotspots, so that we can be proactive in terms of making sure that there's not a problem. Texas actually just got done. They had a huge wildfire there, and the report came out last week that it was caused by electrical power lines. So we want to try to avoid that if we can, by all means. And one way to do that is to be vigilant about inspecting our poles. We have 87,000 poles across our service area. So this is about 10% of those. We're doing about 8,250 of those poles.
And this is what we want the public to know, is there are going to be people out sometimes way in the desert, sometimes in neighborhoods, with drones flying around, and they're supposed to be there.
That's right. And these we give Firmatech some of our vehicles to use, so they'll have SSVEC identification on the vehicle. And then they'll also have company identification. So if you have a question, either you can look at the identification, or I'm sure they're amenable to asking if you stop and ask. A lot of this work, you're right, is not it's not going to cause traffic hazards or anything like that. We're not shutting down traffic, or some of it is in very remote areas.
Tell me the difference. I have a layman's question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying power poles. What's the difference between your power poles and a telephone pole that's on the side of the road? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. Pretty
much. Gotcha.
So we have a significant variety of poles, believe it or not. They categorize them. We have to have a special kind of, as do all utility, you have to, depending on the region where you are, you have to have a certain kind of wood if it's a wooden pole. Ours is actually a Douglas fir, I believe. And it has to have special treatment. And a pole can last up to 50 years or more. We like to replace them before that if possible. But the thing that distinguishes what we're doing this time is that these are high voltage lines, so those they feed into there's transformers and insulators, and sometimes what they call GOABs, which are air brakes for voltage. Anyway, all of that is being inspected. Again, it's in an effort to improve our reliability, so we can identify if there's a problem before it happens, and then make that repair before it happens, and also to reduce, to mitigate the possibility of a wildfire.
And how long can we expect to see people out there with the drones?
Sure. The program ends March 22nd, which is 2 weeks from today.
Okay. So if you see those drones out there, they're supposed to be there, and that's courtesy of SSVEC. Now, I know you're here to talk about drones, but you have a cool event that happens every year. Is your annual meeting coming up soon?
Thank you for asking that, actually. We do have an annual meeting, and it has been in years past, always in April. This year we moved that to June 27th. and it will be in Wilcox at the high school there. We moved it for a couple reasons. The primary one being that we'll have a better idea of our financials. When it was in April, it was really a crunch to try and make sure that our financials were accurate. And I'm not going to say that our previous financials were not accurate, but they were not pinpoint accurate. And this, by June 27th, they will be completely and the audited and will have been done. So.
Okay, and then real quick, I also want to ask about the Yes Fair. How did that go?
Oh, thank you for asking about that. I have two things, actually. One, the Yes Fair went really, really well. We handed out, with sponsorships from the community, a total of $50,000 in awards and scholarships. Our top scholarship was a $5,000 scholarship that went to Carissa Riggs in Wilcox. She had accumulated the most points by participating in the Yes Fair since she was in 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but we selected 2 grand prize projects. One was a team that was from Buena, and one of the participants, Dylan Rothenbaum, he went last year actually to the International Fair. This year the International Fair is in Los Angeles, and his team will be presenting again. And then Juliana Gavin was also a project winner who will go advance to the International Fair. So.
All right, what else do you have from SSVEC before you go?
So March 29th closes out our applications for the second phase of teacher grants and awards of up to $500. That's on our website. You can find that, and it's an opportunity to earn $500 if you're a teacher within our service territory for to help in your classroom. But then we also have what are called entity grants. So even school districts are eligible for this, and that's a grant up to $20,000.
Well, Eric Peterman, we thank you for what you do at SSVEC. We also thank you for what SSVEC does for this community. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's I feel really proud to represent an organization that is owned by members and has a mission to serve those members. It's it's a lot like you guys, right? It's you're out there because people want you out there and your security. So.
And we really appreciate you also sponsoring this show so that people can hear about what's happening in our community every Friday all year long. Thank you.
Thank you, Grady. Thanks, Carol.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Dr. Perry from Cochise College.
First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
Giving you an inside look to your sheriff's office. Let's go back to First Watch on KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Dr. Perry, for being here from Cochise College. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at the college.
Sure. So my name is James Perry. I serve as the Executive Vice President for Academics at Cochise College, which really oversees both the credit and non-credit, as well as a variety of other areas, including institutional research, faculty affairs. So anything related to programming and education really is kind of my purview.
And you guys are going to be starting bachelor degrees.
That is correct. So one of the cool things that's happening at Cochise College as we continue to expand our programming and meet the community needs is to offer baccalaureate degrees. So back in May of 2021, the state legislature passed Senate Bill 1453 that allowed the community colleges to offer baccalaureate degrees as long as they tied directly to workforce needs and community needs. And really it was about providing those additional educational opportunities at a cost-effective rate for students in local economies. So what Cochise College did was they had kind of what you call a stage gate process, and they kind of did a kind of asked the program areas, what types of baccalaureate degrees should we be looking at? And the two that rose to the top were an RN to BSN, right, for nursing, and the other one was a bachelor's degree in leadership, management, and operations. And so based on that, then we had a team of individuals at Cochise College that helped develop the curriculum and put in place these two programs. So if I can talk just briefly about each one. So the RN to BSN is a bachelor's degree where you have to have your RN first. So you have to be a registered nurse in order to get into and complete the program. And that's based on not only our higher learning accreditation, the Higher Learning Commission, which is our accreditor, but also our nursing accreditation, which is requiring that they have the RN to go to BSN. And really the impetus behind that is we all know that there's going to be a mass exodus of nurses happening in hospitals and clinics and things like that. What we're hoping to do is develop that next level of leadership. So as people retire, those nurses that have been practicing for some time can get their bachelor's degree and move up into leadership positions within their clinic or their hospital, wherever that may be. The LMO is a little bit different, Leadership Management and Operations. That one we designed for people, again, taking leadership roles in their current chosen field, but we have emphasis areas. And if I can, I'll just briefly go through. We have 7 different emphasis areas for the leadership management and operations. One is fire science technology, law enforcement, paramedicine, and then we have 4 military emphasis: intelligent operations studies, military intelligence systems technician, unmanned aircraft systems technician, and then also unmanned aerial vehicle operator. And the idea was to really double down on some of our first responders programs that we have been expanding here at Cochise College, and was really looking at how do we help those that have been in those various professions, again, get to the next level, whether that may be lieutenant, captain, chief, right? Or just want to expand their capability to perform or increase their leadership within their current organization. And of course, we know that we've got a large contingent of military personnel that we serve as students through Cochise College at Fort Huachuca. We wanted to be able to provide the ability for them to get bachelor's degrees as well as they, whether or not they decide to stay in the military and re-enlist and move up, or they decide to do something else within the civilian world. So again, it's meeting those multiple populations that we serve within Cochise County.
And one of the things that Cochise College is doing as well to augment and push forward specifically the law enforcement portion of it is you have construction going with student housing and on a firing range.
That's correct. So again, one of our big pushes in strategic initiatives is been on first responders. And as part of that, we've got construction going on right now with the Firearms Training Complex. This facility is slated to be done, I believe, in early 2025. And the idea is that not only would we utilize that for our law enforcement academy, but we would also then be able to continue to reskill and upskill law enforcement agencies within Cochise County.
And that's a really good way to look at all of that. And we can't even express how much our partnership has meant with all law enforcement agencies in Cochise County and Cochise College. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head when, we view ourselves as an integral part of the community and of the county. And what we're realizing when we offer these programs is that we cannot do it in isolation. It's those partnerships that make all the difference in the world, and bringing these types of things to fruition that really make a positive impact on our communities.
And another positive impact is workforce development.
That's exactly right. We're doubling down again on workforce development. And so when we look at the portfolio of Cochise College, we know that we have credit classes, right, that lead to certificates, associate's degrees, and again now possibly baccalaureate degrees, right? And I will make note on the baccalaureate degrees, we're still waiting final approval by our accrediting agency in order to launch those. But our intent or hope is that we can launch those by fall of 2024. But the workforce piece is another piece of our portfolio. And really what that is reskilling and upskilling of those that are currently in the workforce. So you may have people that want to retool for careers. We want to be able to offer short-term trainings that will help them get the skills so that they're employable immediately. We also want to really make a concerted effort to reach out to business and industry here in Cochise County to assess what their needs are and then figure out what kind of training can Cochise College help them not only train their employees but maybe even take their business to the next level. So that's an area that we have been doing, but we really want to expand that area because we think there's a large contingent of not only possible students, right, that want to be employed or upskill, but businesses that could really benefit from some of the training that we have at Cochise College.
So give us some information on how we can get a look at Cochise College online, if we can call for more information. How can we do that?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is to go to our website, Cochise College, or I think that we can, there'll be some numbers there as well that you can contact for more information. Again, you're welcome to contact my office if you have questions on, and if I can't give you the answers, we can direct you in the right direction.
Well, Dr. Perry, we thank you for coming and talking to us today, and we thank you for everything that Cochise College does for our community.
Our pleasure.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have SACA and Sierra Vista Police Department.
First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
Giving you an inside look to your sheriff's office. Let's go back to First Watch on KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And in the studio now, we've got Michelle from Lori's Place. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. So remind us what Lori's Place does. Very important in our community.
Yes. Lori's Place, Cochise Family Advocacy Center, works with victims of abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, rape, human trafficking, child abuse and neglect, any victims of violent crimes. We have a forensic interviewer. We do the forensic evidence collection. We have our victim advocates that work from day one all the way through until the time that victim is ready to, be done with our services. And then we also have counseling for them as well. We do orders of protection, go to court with them, everything. So.
And this is a nonprofit that we're going to give out some information about how you can help in just a few. But one of the ways you can help is a golf tournament you've got coming up.
Yes, we have got our second annual Lori's Place golf tournament coming up on May 3rd. It is going to be a scramble and shotgun start at 8 a.m., and that's at Mountain View Golf Course. And, of course, we're looking for teams. We're looking for sponsors. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a great time last year, great turnout. A lot of our first responders came out. So we are looking for anybody that wants to get involved with that, volunteers as well. And we're also looking if anybody wants to donate raffle prizes or swag for our swag bags.
And the prizes and swag bags are really cool. Give us an example of some of the stuff you've given away in the past.
Oh, man, we have had KENG donated a smoker. We have had a Hawaiian vacation raffle. We have our 50-50 raffle. We've got our liquor baskets, which are always a big thing. Just all kinds of massage packages. I mean, a little bit of everything.
That just kind of gives you an idea of what might be coming this year. So you might want to get your team together and golf. So if they get to team together, where do they register? How do they get involved?
So they can register at Birdies. It's BIRDEASE.com/ Lori's Place Golf 2024. Or they can contact me at 520-458-0488. We do have the flyers posted on our Facebook page as well, which is Lori's Place AZ 2022. And they're on a lot of the city sites right now, too. If anybody wants to sponsor but maybe doesn't golf and they want to do one of those higher level sponsorships that comes with a team, they can donate that team and I will have it filled with our first responders.
Okay, so this is a great opportunity. It's coming up in May
3rd.
May 3rd. So get involved in this. This is a great way to help out Lori's Place. And also, if you want to volunteer with them, if you want to donate, if you want to help Lori's Place, give us all that contact information.
Okay, so we have our 24-hour crisis crisis line is 520-515-4444. And then, of course, during business hours, we will answer that phone. We're there. We have our website at lauriesplaceaz.org. Facebook page is Laurie's Place AZ 2022. We are also on Instagram. And I think that's it. But that crisis line, 520-515-4444. And then for the tournament, call me at 520-458-0488.
And I did kind of push all the volunteering and help. But also, if you have a crisis going on in your life, you want them to call you.
Absolutely. If you've got a crisis going on and you need help, whether it's a victim of violent crime or not, if you've got something going on and you need help, you need somebody to help you out, please give us a call.
Give us that number one more time.
520-515-4444.
Well, thank you for coming and talking to us today, and thank you for everything that Laurie's Place does for our community.
Thank you so much, Grady.
Also in the studio from the Sierra Vista Police Department, we've got Corporal Borkstadt. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you have an event going on tomorrow that a lot of people will want to get involved in.
Yeah, we do. This is like the fourth year we've done this. It's a Shred-a-thon and Drug Take-Back Day. It's going to be in Veterans Memorial Park. The trucks arrive right about 9 o'clock, and it goes from 9 to 1. So, yeah, bring material that you want to get shredded. We don't take, paper clips and the big binder clips, and, the paper actually has to be removed from like a 3-fold binder, type thing. But bring that by. We'll make sure it gets shredded. I think last year we did almost 100,000 pounds, or a little over 100,000 pounds of paper in a 4-hour period, which is amazing. And the drug take-back, this is for like prescription medication, pills, capsules, tablets, stuff like that. We can't take anything that has a liquid, so no cough syrups or stuff like that. No creams, no needles, and we can't take albuterol, like the inhaler type stuff. Then those things tend to blow up when they go to burn the drugs, so they, that's not a good thing. It's sponsored by the Sierra Vista Police Department, the Citizens Police Academy Associates, and the Arizona Attorney General's Office. The event is free, but donations are accepted, and it's about a $5 limit.
And so all the things that you take, they're destroyed, I take it, with all the drugs and stuff?
Yep.
Okay, so why, it may be obvious to some, but why is it important that people empty their medicine cabinets and get rid of that stuff?
Well, a lot of times we get questions about, hey, we don't know what to do with this type of stuff. And as opposed to throwing it in the garbage, which ends up in the landfill, which eventually ends up into the water table, we take those things and get them destroyed properly. They get incinerated in an amazingly hot furnace, so there's no residual or anything like that after they're done.
All right, remind us one more time of the event tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow at Veterans Memorial Park on the west side of the park. We'll have signs out, and the event is from 9 to 1 p.m.
First
9
watch
in the morning to 1 p.m.
That's important, yes. First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. Keep up to date. Follow the Cochise County Sheriff's Office on Facebook and tune in next Friday, 7